Okay, wanted to do a video, and let me try to turn this down a little bit. Hold on, real quick. While everybody's probably watching the election or not really sure, but wanted to kind of go over something that folks have asked me before in terms of the housing market here and all of that. There was some questions before I get into that. Join our Discord, which is going to be down in the description box below. We talk about a lot of things. Sometimes we don't talk about anything, but there are still people who are moving here. And I get the question of cost and where should they live. This is something that, again, I get often. And a lot of times I wait to get information because information is pretty steady here in terms of those two pieces of information. There are 4 cities here that are selling homes pretty much faster than most places are in the country. Right? Now, there may be 1 or 2 or 3 others, and who knows where they fall on the list. But there are 4 cities in the Puget Sound region that are selling homes faster than most places in the country. Okay? And I'm a bit surprised by one of them. But again, it shouldn't be a surprise because of the price of homes. Okay? Seattle, let's talk about it because it's one of those, and it shouldn't come as a surprise because Seattle has been up at the top for the entire country and has went down a little bit and back up, and different times it's been at different places. But Seattle is one of those markets, and the average price for homes are around the 740,000 range. Now, there was a point in time when Seattle had ballooned up to that price rather fast, and it didn't make any sense, right? And at the time, people were asking, is this some sort of a bubble, housing bubble? And I said, no, I don't think that it actually is. I think that it is more of I think it's kind of speculation. Hold on one second. All right, I had a phone call. I said I think that it is I think that it's basically speculation that people are just wanting to buy into the market. You have a lot of foreign buyers, you have a lot of different things going on. And so I think that that is really what has had at that time made the housing prices in Seattle just balloon. Like they literally were leapfrogging. Well, then there came a point in time when there was a correction. I didn't say that there was a bubble and that bursted, and I think a lot of people kind of felt that it was, but it wasn't. And everything just kind of corrected itself. Now, Pierce County, or where Tacoma is, it didn't really face that too much. It bobbled a little bit, but it didn't face the steep decline like Seattle did. The prices in Seattle, the home prices just tanked, and they dropped down to 500 and something thousand, right? Well, at the time in Tacoma, the prices were in the high twos, and so it really and truly didn't impact things that much. And it wasn't like $100,000 was shaved off. It was more like 10, 20,000 at most, and for when we're talking about averages, right, at that time. Then basically, keep in mind too, Amazon was making news about second headquarters and different locations, and so people were like, I don't really know. But this market, this area is very, very hot. And even during the global sickness, it has not changed that. If anything, it has actually made it even a faster place for growth because folks are looking to move here and always have been. It is still a pretty solid market, and if anything, it has gotten much worse than it has at other points in time, right? It's gotten much worse to the point where now houses stay on market in Seattle about a week. Okay, a full week. So Monday through Sunday. It stays on the market for about a full week, and that's pretty darn quick. And it's getting back to the point of where it was before, where really and truly it's a seller's market, and it kind of got away from that earlier. A little bit last year. It was more of a buyer's market there temporarily. But now it's going back to a seller's market where really and truly sellers don't have to offer much. The house needs, a new roof. They're not going to do it. And buyers are saying that's okay. They'll buy it. So you're seeing that. But you're also seeing that in Kitsap County, Bremerton. So I'm going to go in the order of house value averages, right? In Bremerton, and I've always said that the fast ferry was a game changer for Bremerton because you're able to get directly across to Seattle, and that is a big, big deal. I've had people argue with me and say that Bremerton is its own city and it's its own thing and it doesn't rely on Seattle for jobs. And it's like, that's true. I agree. But there are a lot of people who live in Bremerton that also work in Seattle. Like, duh. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt and just giving it to you. It's like there's facts behind it. There are people who, in the real estate market, that I speak to from every now and again, and different things like that, where this is basic facts. Not only that, the city keeps track of the amount of people who go back and forth to Seattle. It's just facts. Okay. So the fast ferry made things a lot more convenient and a bit more reliable than the state ferry. And so it's been a boom. And so that is one of the other fast markets in terms of homes. And they can't keep enough homes in the market there, right? They just can't. Values have dipped a little bit in this area, but we're in the winter times. So keep in mind the average a little bit ago, probably a month ago, was, I think they said about 457, something like that in Bremerton, 450, 460 range. And it may have dipped a few thousand, but again, we're heading into winter. Matter of fact, Noel saw something today where it's supposed to be frozen rain or freezing rain coming this weekend. So this is the time of year where people don't look as much typically, not as much activity. You still have the sickness, so people are, and it's getting worse, so people are but they're still going online, buying, doing everything else, and they are really invested in this area. So there is a little bit of a dip, but it's definitely not going to last long. But it gives some folks a big ray of hope because they want to come in quickly when it's this time of year and buy, because they know as soon as spring comes, it's a done deal. And the other thing is too, because of the sickness, people now can live wherever they want to live and work from home, and they don't have to rely on Seattle. When I said earlier that, Bellevue, but Bellevue doesn't really want to grow as fast as some of these other places because the house prices there are higher than what they are in Seattle. And you don't have a whole lot of supply there to begin with. There's not a lot of wiggle room, and most people in the country can't afford a home in Bellevue. They just can't. So cities like that are not in that realm of the fast-selling homes because it's just too expensive, right? That's why Seattle, the homes, they have a lot of them, but they don't sell at a fast clip like they do down here in Tacoma. Tacoma is number 3. Now, not in any sort of order. Am I going that, Seattle is selling faster than Tacoma or Bremerton or whatnot? I'm just going in terms of the average prices for homes. I'm going in that order. Tacoma's number 3. And Tacoma's house prices have leapfrogged. Remember, I did videos a while back talking about even our house here and how it had doubled in value. Almost, right? And how there's just this big giant shift in terms of the homes here and the values. And there's some people who have gotten good, sweet deals. And there are others who are still trying to find a good house. Houses here last 5 days on average on the market. 5 days. There was a house we were just looking at for giggles just the other day. We were looking at homes, and it was here in Tacoma. We wanted to do an upgrade. That home, we looked at it, and um, earlier that day, later that day, I had told Noelle, like, oh, I found this home that I think is really, really cool. You should check it out. This was after dinner, and it was already pending. It was pending, right? So that tells you just how quick things are here. Like it doesn't last long, and the prettier it looks on the inside, the faster it'll go. The cheaper or more affordable it is, the faster it's going to go. This wasn't a house that was super duper 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 expensive, but it wasn't cheap either, and it was gone. Like it was pending, and that is kind of the circumstance. Here you see a lot of the cash only offers where people are saying, or homes that are being for sale cash only, or you have people who bring cash. And so it is a massive disadvantage for people who are looking for traditional financing. Not saying it's impossible, but it's those are some of the things you're having to deal with. It is a very, very competitive market. So the home prices here in Tacoma are a lot more affordable than what you're going to get in Seattle, but they're still in the high threes. And that's not really going to change. I mean, not in terms of going down, they're going to continue to go up. But still, 5 days. The twin on that lasts for 5 days is a newcomer. And it's going to dramatically shape not only that city, but the county. Down in Thurston County, Olympia is an hour away from, or no, it's longer, it's farther than that. It is 60 miles away from Seattle, give or take a few miles. And it is going through the same situation where homes are lasting 5 days on the market. There's more of a pool down there because people weren't really living down there as much before because of the distance. And so now those houses are being swallowed up by people quick because guess what? I don't have to travel to go to work. I can just sit in my office or sit in a part of the house and I can work from anywhere. As long as I'm somewhat close, I can drive in if I need to. But that is what's going on in Olympia. We're talking 60 miles away or so, 63, 64 miles away. And the prices there are a little bit are less than what they are in Tacoma because you're away from the Seattle market a little bit more. You're away from Tacoma. You're in a more of a smaller city. But the prices there are still going up. I forget the exact amount. I think it's around 350s, high 350s. That's on average, right? You still can get more house down here than what you can get up in Seattle. But when you have four cities in this area, there are some of the fastest growing or fastest selling homes. That is a bit frightening, especially when one is far away. Keep in mind, these are in all different counties. This isn't in one county. Seattle is King County, which is a very popular, massive county. Then you have Tacoma, which is in Pierce County, very popular and massive county. Pierce County by itself is almost at 1 million people. Then you have Kitsap County, which is where Bremerton is. And then you have Thurston County, which is where Olympia is. So you're starting to see it really start to just expand out a lot more in terms of population and people and things like that. It is putting a strain on the infrastructure of cities that aren't quite used to this. When you look at smaller cities like Bremerton and Olympia, they're going to see a constant march up in terms of people because the prices make sense. The home prices still, a lot of people may not can afford them, but the home prices make a hell of a lot more sense than what you're going to get in Bellevue. And you're going to get the same type of house, same bells and whistles, and same type of yard, if not bigger, but you're not going to be paying 2 times as much as what you're going to pay in Bremerton, in Olympia, and in Tacoma as you would in Bellevue. So can you still afford a house here? It depends on what your finances are and what you're looking at. If you're wanting to get a home in outside of Seattle, and we're talking south of Seattle, and we're talking going over to Bremerton and going down to Tacoma and even going further down into Olympia, yeah, $400,000 you would probably be right there. Now, are there houses cheaper than that? Yes. Can you find deals for under 400,000? Absolutely, you can. But you're going to have to keep in mind that even though there are homes that are cheaper than that, you can find them. You're going to have a lot of pending offers. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to be going and checking those out. You really need to have I was going to say an attorney, but you need to have a realtor, who, maybe an attorney too, but a realtor for sure, who is really on it. And you need to be able to be ready to go, meaning that you have the financing right there, you have everything where you can just jump on it, and work out a strategy to get a house, because it's highly competitive. Now, some people, this is not an attractive thing. It's never going to get any better. I've had some people say, well, I don't want to deal with all that. It's just too much of a headache. But if you ever want to come to this area or move back to this area, that is what you're going to be up against, is that high competitive market. And it's never going to change. Now, I remember back when Tacoma wasn't that bad. When we first got this house, Tacoma was starting to become very competitive, very competitive. But that kind of, was fine, and it was not a big deal. Not as bad as what you saw in Seattle. But at Toll Noel, the writing is definitely on the wall, and that's going to change quickly. And as a matter of fact, we got the house in February. By that summer, it was insane down here because this was where people were starting to look at and give a lot more certainty to and focus a little bit more on. So then the price points for homes just shot up. I remember doing videos saying that this house value went up by almost $100,000 in a year, because it became such the area had no eyes on it hardly. And then all of a sudden, folks are like, this is a good deal. And the city started to do a lot of investments and a lot of improvements and a lot of changes. And so folks started to see that this was a good market, and it has not stopped. It has, if anything, has increased dramatically, and it's still going to do so. There are a lot of big things that are happening here in Tacoma. The mayor has even put out a pitch and has done a really good job campaigning and trying to get businesses to relocate, and even wrote to Amazon and put in, a lot of different benefits. So it wouldn't surprise me, given the fact that Amazon supposedly was looking for several thousand square feet of building space, office space down here. It doesn't surprise me. So yeah, I would say definitely for some folks, Olympia makes more sense if they're into more of a smaller city. It's not as much going on there, and for some, they like that. Tacoma's going to give you kind of more of a bigger city vibe, but in a smaller package. Bremerton, to me, is more of a suburban style city, and you're kind of away from a lot of stuff too. You know what I mean? So you're kind of away from the busy crazy of Seattle. That may be appealing to some. And so it kind of depends on your taste. People ask, where should they move to? I said, it's up to you. It depends on your taste. Come and visit. These areas people don't pay attention to. People from outside of this area, they never pay attention to Tacoma, Bremerton, or Olympia. They focus all of their time in Seattle. And there's much more to the area versus Seattle and Bellevue. You're going to be selling yourself really, really short, and you're going to be seeing nothing but corporate and tourism, as opposed to what it's really like to live here. But anyhow, I'm gonna go. Got stuff I gotta do. A lot of studio stuff too. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you join our Discord, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.